Yes, assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum salam. Sorry for late. So, how are you?
Yes, sir. We're fine, sir.
We are fine. So, how many participants?
64.
64. So, today's topics. So, we are going to, though we are late, but okay, we will make it. No problem. So, what we have seen in the X-ray, this is the, we are going to discuss about OSPE. There are 10 OSPE stations. Some of them have got X-ray, specimen, operative surgery, data interpretation, counseling. So, today we are going to discuss about X-ray, some X-ray. First of all, the most important is the pneumoperitoneum. So, what is the X-ray findings? Anyone can interpret this X-ray? What is shown on the X-ray? Anyone? So, what is the X-ray and what is the diagnosis, radiological diagnosis? What is the abnormality in the X-ray? So, this is a plain X-ray abdomen in erect posture, including both dome of diaphragm, showing free gesture under the right dome of diaphragm. Am I clear? Hello?
জি স্যার।
শুনতে পাচ্ছ?
জি স্যার, শুনতে পাচ্ছি স্যার।
So you have to respond that can you follow? So this is the plain X-ray abdomen in erect posture, including both dome of diaphragm, showing free gesture under the right dome of diaphragm. So what is your radiological diagnosis? So this is called pneumoperitoneum. Pneumoperitoneum. This is another X-ray. This is the chest X-ray. Chest X-ray in erect posture, showing free gesture under the right dome of diaphragm. There is also pneumoperitoneum. The most sensitive is the chest X-ray in erect posture. So this is pneumoperitoneum. This is the most important X-ray. First one is the plain X-ray abdomen erect posture, including both dome of diaphragm, showing free gesture under the right dome of diaphragm. And next one is the chest X-ray in erect posture, showing free gesture under the right dome of diaphragm. So regarding this X-ray, there are some questions like what is the radiological diagnosis? So it is the pneumoperitoneum. Then findings. So next, what are the important causes? What are the important causes of pneumoperitoneum? Anyone from student like to answer this question? What are the important causes of pneumoperitoneum? বলো।
স্যার, কোনো ইনজুরি?
বলো।
Perforation of gas contained hollow viscous.
Yes, the most important cause is the perforation of the gas contained hollow viscous. Perforation of the gas contained hollow viscous, like what we have seen in our surgical ward.
Duodenal perforation,
Yes,
tubercular
yes.
perforation.
It is the most common is the duodenal ulcer perforation. Next common is the gastric ulcer perforation. Then typhoid and then typhoid ulcer perforation, tubercular ulcer, malignant ulcer. Next, either due to blunt or penetrating abdominal trauma, traumatic abdominal injury, either blunt injury or penetrating abdominal injury. Following laparotomy, even after laparoscopy, following laparoscopic gas insufficiency test, these all may cause pneumoperitoneum. There is the free gesture under the right dome of diaphragm. So next, what are the important clinical findings? What are the important clinical findings?
Passion is toxic থাকবে, tachycardia থাকবে, তার hypotension, tachypnea, abdominal distension থাকবে স্যার, peritonitis develop করলে board like rigidity থাকবে স্যার, and
Yes.
bile sound diminish থাকবে, absent.
Absent থাকতে পারে, yes. So regarding clinical বলো। So regarding clinical presentation, most important is the sudden severe epigastric pain. Sudden severe epigastric pain followed by generalized abdominal pain. Initially epigastric pain followed by diffuse abdominal pain throughout the abdomen with nausea and vomiting, as well as abdominal distension. And on inspection, if there is a diminished movement of the abdominal movement is diminished, and pattern of thoracic abdominal space also diminished. So movement of the abdomen diminished, and on there is a most important finding the obliteration of the liver dullness. On percussion, there is a obliteration of the liver dullness in the right fifth intercostal space. Obliteration of the liver dullness in the right fifth intercostal space, and on palpation there is a tenderness, muscle guard, rigidity, and general, and there is a board-like rigidity. Board-like rigidity. Most important, board-like rigidity. Muscle guarding, rigidity, tenderness, and also rebound tenderness. On oscillation pulsation may be absent or diminished. So what is the initial management? What is the initial management?
স্যার ইমিডিয়েট রিসাসিটেশন করতে হবে, হসপিটালাইজেশন করতে হবে স্যার, দেন নাথিং বাই মাউথ, দেন নাজোগ্যাস্ট্রিক সাকশন,
Very good.
প্যান্টা অ্যান্টিবায়োটিক দিতে হবে, প্রোটন পাম্প ইনহিবিটর দিতে হবে
Yes.
স্যার, অ্যানালজেসিক দিতে হবে স্যার, ক্যাথেটারাইজেশন করতে হবে।
Okay. This is okay. So first initial management is the initial resuscitation that keep the patient kneel by mouth, nasogastric suction, broad spectrum IV antibiotic, intravenous fluid. Initial the choice of fluid is the crystalline solution. That is the Hartmann solution. And a H2 blocker and central acting analgesia, like central acting analgesia, not NSAID. You must avoid NSAIDs. So is the central acting analgesia, like Pethidine. Okay, and then monitor the vital sign, pulse, BP, spin, temperature, urine output. In severe cases, in patient with shock, severe shock, you may put catheterization. Okay, so these are the initial management. So what are the next question is what are the stages of peritonitis? So there are 3 stages.
Sir, there are 3 stages.
Yes. Okay. First stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. Stage 1, stage of
chemical irritation,
peritonitis, and followed by stage of elution or stage of peritoneal reaction, and last stage of bacterial peritonitis. So there are 3 stages. Stage 1, stage of chemical reaction. Stage 2, stage of peritoneal reaction, and third is the stage of bacterial peritonitis. These are the stages of clear. So now look at the answer. Hello. So now look at the answer. So our regular diagram is the pneumoperitoneum. Findings, kisinic gesture under the right of diaphragm. And causes, what we have already as mentioned, perforation of the gestion hollow viscous. Perforation of the continuity ulcer, gastric ulcer, ileal perforation, colonic perforation, foreal laparoscopy. Next. Clinical findings. Sudden severe epigastric pain, easily diffuse with nausea and vomiting. Patient may present feature of shock. On inspection, moment of abdomen with respiration restricted. On palpation, diffuse tenderness, borderline rigidity, reward tenderness, escalation of bowel may be absent. Initial management, complete bed rest, nothing for orally, IV fluid, nasal suction, antibiotic, monitoring vital sign, and intake output chart. And last year, stage of peritonitis, like chemical peritonitis, peritoneal reaction, and stage of bacterial peritonitis. So, what is the management of the pneumoperitoneum? What is the definitive treatment? What is the definitive treatment? Anyone can answer. What is the definitive treatment? What is the definitive treatment of pneumoperitoneum? It is the treatment of cause. That is the emergency surgery. After resuscitation, you can go for explanatory laparotomy, followed by repair of the perforation. Clear?
Yes, sir.
So, initial treatment after resuscitation, definite treatment is the emergency laparotomy by midline incision, then find the cause of perforation and treat according to the cause. If it is the duodenal ulcer, it is the repair of perforation with omental patch. If it is the gastric ulcer perforation, treatment is repair with biopsy from the ulcer edge. Why biopsy for gastric ulcer?
To exclude malignancy.
Yes, so easily gastric ulcer, easily malignant ulcer. So easily gastric ulcer is the malignant ulcer perforation. So they are to extract malignancy. If possible, so repair perforation with biopsy. In case of chronic duodenal ulcer, there is a easily chronic ulcer, no risk of malignancy, so no need for biopsy. So this is all about pneumoperitoneum. Could you have any question regarding pneumoperitoneum? কারো কোনো question আছে বলো regarding pneumoperitoneum? Any question regarding pneumoperitoneum?
Sir, IV antibiotics কি দিব?
Huh?
Sir, management sir intravenous antibiotics কি choice?
Easily choice of antibiotic, the broad spectrum IV antibiotic that cover the gram positive as well as gram negative organism. Easily second generation or third generation cephalosporin. Easily second generation or third generation cephalosporin. So next topics. So could I proceed?
Yes, sir.
So our second topics, I am requesting all the students to see the X-ray and give your answer the X-ray findings. So this is the one X-ray and another X-ray. So what is the X-ray findings? Already mentioned, diagnosis mentioned on the screen. So what is the X-ray finding in this X-ray? What do you see?
Increased translucency in the right
Yes.
side.
Very good. There is a so this is the hypertranslucent lung field, right side. Hypertranslucent lung field on the right side. And what abnormality we have seen on the right side? Arrow mark.
Collapsed lung margin.
Yes, yes. This is collapsed lung margin. And what are the other positive findings?
Tracheal shifting and mediastinum shifting.
Okay, then on the left side, you have seen there are some bronchovascular marking. Bronchovascular marking are prominent, but in right side, bronchovascular field is absent. Clear? Am I clear to you?
Yes, sir.
So there is a hypertranslucent lung field. There is a collapsed lung margin, absent bronchovascular marking, and shift your trachea and mediastinum towards the opposite side. So this is in favor of pneumothorax. So what additional? So what is the X-ray findings regarding this X-ray? What you have seen on the box? This is a
Sir, broken rib sector. Sir.
yes. So rib fracture on the left side a rib fracture on the left side with pneumothorax. So what is pneumothorax?
Sir, accumulation of air in the pleural space. Sir.
Yes, it is the abnormal accumulation of air in the pleural space. That is called pneumothorax. What is hemothorax? What is pyothorax?
Sir, abnormal accumulation of blood হলো স্যার হিমোথোরাক্স
Yes,
আর স্যার পায়োথোরাক্স হচ্ছে স্যার মেবি পাস
pass. Emphysema, this is called pyothorax. And what is pleural effusion?
স্যার যদি স্যার ওয়াটার অ্যাকুমুলেশন হয়
So pleural fluid, abnormal accumulation of pleural fluid. So this is the pleural effusion. So what are causes of pneumothorax? So what are types of pneumothorax? What are the types of pneumothorax?
The primary pneumothorax and secondary pneumothorax.
Yes. Primary pneumothorax, there is a no cause, idiopathic.
And secondary pneumothorax are COPD, cancer
Yes.
lung abscess.
Lung abscess, bronchitis, tuberculosis. Okay, these are the second pneumothorax. And some other pneumothorax, like tension. What is tension pneumothorax? And what is open pneumothorax?
নিউমোথোরাক্সে স্যার ইয়ারও একটা ভালভ তৈরি হবে স্যার, যেখানে স্যার এয়ার আদা ঢুকবে কিন্তু বাইর হবে না স্যার।
Yes. So it is the one form of severe chest injury that develops when one-way valve air leak occurs, either through lung or through the chest wall, and it's allow air intake in the pleural space without escape. So there is a development of positive pressure in that hemithorax, and that causes medial collapsing of the affected lung as well as shifting of mediastinum. And what happened? What will happen? What is the fatal consequence of tension pneumothorax? বলো।
অবস্ট্রাকটিভ শক ডেভেলপ করতে পারে স্যার।
Very good. Patient may develop obstructive shock. That is, what do you mean by obstructive shock?
স্যার সুপিরিয়র ভেনা কাভালটা অবস্ট্রাকশন হয়ে যেতে পারে স্যার।
Yes, there is a obstruction of the great vessel due to lung collapse with shifting mediastinum that impair the barasitar as well as finally decrease cardiac output, and patient may lead to cardiac arrest and death. So what is the mode of death in tension pneumothorax? Mode of death.
Cardiac arrest.
Cardiorespiratory failure.
Yes. No. Cardiac arrest. No. Cardiac arrest. So it is the cardiac arrest. Mode of death is the cardiac arrest. Cardiac arrhythmia. So this is tension pneumothorax. What is open pneumothorax? What is open pneumothorax? There is open defect. Open pneumothorax means there is a large open defect in the chest wall. If the side is more than 3 centimeter. There is a large open defect in the chest wall. Side is more than 3 centimeter. That is called open pneumothorax. Oh, I was shown there. দিলাম তো টেস্ট করে দিলাম আচ্ছা ওকে হ্যাঁ দিস hello hello so what is open pneumothorax what is open pneumothorax hello শুনতে পাচ্ছো
Large opening in chest wall, more than 3 centimeter.
is a large open defect in the chest wall more than 3 centimeter 3 centimeter so there air entering the pleural space during inspiration and that leads to hypoventilation and hypoxia so what are the causes of pneumothorax mostly what are the causes of tension pneumothorax what are the important causes of tension pneumothorax could anyone have like to go the answer cause of tension pneumothorax
trauma, sir, penetrating trauma, sir.
yes very good the penetrating chest injury the most important cause along with blunt chest injury with parenchymal condition iatrogenic injury due to sibilant if you during placement of central venous line there may be tension pneumothorax and mechanical positive pressure ventilation that may lead to tension pneumothorax so penetrating chest injury blunt chest injury iatrogenic due to sibilant and mechanical intermediate positive pressure ventilation so what are clinical features clinical presentation of tension pneumothorax
severe chest pain হবে স্যার chest pain হবে respiratory distress
yes patient present with history of injury respiratory distress that is dyspnea and there is a increased respiratory rate and all important findings on neck findings important findings as there is a raised jugular venous pressure so there is a engorged neck bone is engorged patient may present feature of shock on examination there may be trachea shifting of trachea on percussion there is hyperresonance and bass sound is absent so it is the life-threatening chest injury tension pneumothorax so what is the immediate management what is the
chest tube drain
no what is immediate management
Insertion of white bone needle in the second intercostal space in mid-clavicular line.
অমিত নাকি তুমি অমিত
অনুপম স্যার
হ্যাঁ অনুপম কেমন আছো
ভালো আছি স্যার আপনি ভালো আছেন
হ্যাঁ ভালো অনুপম আর কে আছে তোমার সাথে
জি স্যার
অনুপম আছে আর কে আছে
সবাই আছি স্যার আমরা
সবাই আছে ভেরি গুড সো রেসপন্স পাচ্ছি না I today's class I have got some কি বলবো okay you are responding so that's why it is easy to take the class though I am late I was attending my chamber and so I am late sorry for that but I feel interest in attending this class so as you are responding So it is the immediate decompression of the chest. Immediate decompression by putting white bone needle. Which area? Into the
Second intercostal space, sir, in mid-clavicular line.
in the mid clavicular line. Very good. So it is the life-threatening chest injury. It is the immediate decompression, and subsequently intercostal tube drainage. Clear? So what is the common site of? So what is the next question? What is the common site of putting chest tube drain? What is the common site of putting intercostal tube drain? What is site of tube drainage? Common site of insertion of the intercostal tube. Bolo?
Safety.
It is a yes. It is a safe triangle. It is a triangle of safety. It is a triangle of safety in the chest wall. So what is the boundary of the safe triangle? What is the boundary of triangle of safety? So it is there. It is a space, triangular space in the chest wall that is bounded entirely by the posterior wall of latissimus dorsi. Entirely by the posterior wall of latissimus dorsi. Sorry, entirely by the posterior wall of pectoralis major. Posteriorly by the anterior wall of the latissimus dorsi. And base is formed by the either fifth intercostal space or above the level of nipple, at the level of nipple line, nipple level. So this is the triangular area that is bounded entirely by the posterior border of pectoralis major, posteriorly by the anterior border of latissimus dorsi, and base fifth intercostal space or at the level of nipple. So this is the triangle, safe triangle, where we put intercostal tube drain to avoid important injury to the important neurovascular structure. So these are the questions. So our diagnosis is the pneumothorax, findings is the hypertonic lung field, tracheal shifting of the mediastinum. There is a absent bronchovascular marking, collapsed lung margin. In case of trauma, there is rib fracture. So what are the clinical features that we have already managed? Immediate management, what the bind safety triangle. Okay. So regarding the pneumothorax, any question from the pneumothorax? Any question? So I have a question. So I have a question. What is fire chest? Is the most importantly asked question in Viva. So what is flyer chest?
So when two or more ribs are fractured at two or more points, then that segment of the chest lies loose from the rest of the rib cage, sir, and shows paradoxical movement.
Yes, is Navin?
Yes, sir.
Oh, Navin. Okay. I can. Okay, for good. Navin. Okay, what is the? It is a fracture of three or more than three rib. It is a fracture of three or more than three rib in two or more than two places. So what pathological change develop in the file chest? What is the pathological change in the file chest?
Paradoxical movement during respiration.
There is a paradoxical chestal movement during inspiration. Why? There is paradoxical chestal movement. Why?
Sir, because that segment of the chest lies loose from the rest of the rib cage.
Yes, okay. That is the fire segment is isolated from that of the remaining chest wall. So during inspiration, there is no expansion of the lung and there is a hyperventilation and there is a paradoxical chest wall movement. Fire chest. It is a life-threatening chest injury. So what are the other life-threatening chest injury like fire chest, tension pneumothorax, then? There is a diaphragmatic injury, the another life-threatening chest injury, diaphragmatic injury. Esophageal injury to esophagus, there is a life-threatening injury. Dissecting aortic aneurysm, This is also life-threatening chest injury. So our next topic. So what we have seen in this X-ray film, what you have seen on the X-ray that is already mentioned that this is the T-tube cholangiogram. So what is the findings for left side and right side? This is a already mentioned T-tube cholangiogram. T-tube cholangiogram. There is a post-operative T-tube cholangiogram. What you have seen on the left side of film and on the right film. Is there a difference between right and left film? Yes. There is a difference. What is the difference? On the left side, what was shown by the arrow mark? There is a on the left side shown by the arrow mark. There is a
Dilated bile, common bile ducts,
yes, dilated bile with some filling defect,
multiple stones.
possibly stone. Yes, so this is there is a dilated bile duct with some radiolucency. That is the filling defect in the common bile duct. And on the right side, on the right side, dye is passed easily through the duodenum. Common normal T-tube cholangiogram. So on the right side is a normal T-tube cholangiogram. On the left side it is the T-tube cholangiogram. There is a dilated common bile duct with filling defect in the lower end of the CBD. So what is the diagnosis? Most commonly it is the
Choledocholithiasis.
it is the residual. It is the okay. The T-tube was insertion was given after cholecystectomy. So it is the post-operative T-tube cholangiogram. So it is called residual stone or retained stone. So it is the retained or residual stone. Am I clear? Hello? Is it
Yes,
clear to is it clear to you? So this is the post-operative on the left side. This is the post-operative T-tube cholangiogram showing filling defect in the CBD with dilated common bile duct. There is the most common cause is the retained stone. That is the residual stone. So what is the difference between retained stone and recurrent stone? Or the difference between recurrent stone and residual stone? What is the difference?
স্যার রিকারেন্ট হচ্ছে স্যার যদি 2 ইয়ার্স অপারেশনের পরে যে স্টোনটা ডেভেলপ করে সেটা হচ্ছে রিকারেন্ট
Very good, yes. So if stone develop 2 years after surgery, that is called recurrent stone. If stone within 2 years is called residual or retained stone. Okay, good. And on the right side, it is a normal T-tube cholangiogram. Dye is easily passed into the small bile, through duodenum and small bile, proximal small bile. So on the right side is normal T-tube cholangiogram. So our question is the name the imaging. So what is the imaging? It is a post-operative T-tube cholangiogram. So what operation was done? What operation was done?
কলিটোকলিটোটমি
Yes. So it is the choledochotomy or it is the choledocolitotomy for stone in the common bile duct.
স্যার একটা কোশ্চেন স্যার
হ্যাঁ
স্যার নেম দ্য ইমেজিং এর অ্যানসারটা তাহলে কি বলছেন স্যার?
it is a T-tube cholangiogram. T-tube cholangiogram.
ওকে স্যার, থ্যাংক ইউ।
So T-tube cholangiogram operation is the choledochotomy or choledocolitotomy for CVD stone, common bile duct stone. So next is the what are the complications with this surgery? With this surgery, what are the complications during this surgery? What are the complications that may develop during surgery for CVD stone? Okay. Next, what is the management of CVT tube? And what is the management of retention stone? So, answer like that. So, what is the complication? It is the complication during surgery, after surgery. After surgery, early complication, late complication. So, during surgery, there may be injury to the blood vessels, common hepatic artery, right hepatic artery, cystic artery, and there may be injury to bleeding and injury to the surrounding structure like bowel injury and posterior complication like early and late. Early complication that cholangitis, pancreatitis, peritonitis, and late is the biliary stricture.
স্যার স্লাইড পুরোটা দেখা যাচ্ছে।
দেখা যাচ্ছে না এখন?
জি স্যার এখন দেখা যাচ্ছে।
So it is the early complication after surgery and late complication. The most important complication is the bleeding, and there may be bile leak. Another is the bile leak, and an injury to the bowel injury, surrounding structure like duodenum, stomach, liver injury, pancreas injury, etc. And early posterior complication, late posterior complication. So next important is what is the management of T-tube? What is the T-tube management? So after putting T-tube, after choledochotomy, you have to manage T-tube like that way. We must go for T-tube cholangiogram on 7 to 10 postoperative day. We did T-tube cholangiogram on 7 to 10 postoperative day, and subsequently gradual clamping of the tube and observation. And after that, you remove the T-tube, and subsequently suboperative drain is removed on day after removal of the T-tube. Is it clear to you?
Yes,
Is
sir.
it clear? And so usually after putting T-tube, we see the gradually they see the daily amount of the bile and quality of the bile, amount of the bile, any patient develop any fever. And on the 7th or 10th, between 7 to 10 postoperative day, we go for T-tube cholangiogram. And after that, if we find that there is no residual stone, no retained stone, so gradual clamping of the tube for 24 hours, and we remove T-tube after that. So what is the next question? Is the management of the retained stone. It is the most important is the ERCP and sphincterotomy. The most important is the ERCP and sphincterotomy for retained stone or residual stone. If ERCP fails, then other technique like open surgery or even laparoscopic surgery may be done.
স্যার বুরহেইনস অপারেশনটা কি বলবো?
হ্যাঁ বলো।
স্যার রেজিডুয়াল স্টোন রিমুভালের জন্য স্যার বুরহেইনস অপারেশন যে একটা আছে না স্যার?
Oh, it is a one of technique. It is called Barheni technique. It is nowadays it is not done. It is a Barheni or Burheni technique. We can put, if there is a residual stone, we can allow T-tube on the side, and if you ask the patient to come on 6 or 2 weeks or after 4 weeks, and after 4 weeks we can flush the T-tube with heparinase solution, and we can put a choledocoscope to the T-tube and remove the stone. It is usually nowadays it is not done. Nowadays we usually ERCP. With the advantage of ERCP, it is the ERCP and sphincter is the important for a retained stone. So now come to some discussion about obstetric jaundice or So what is obstructive jaundice?
The jaundice that develops due to biliary obstruction is called obstructive.
It is also called surgical jaundice. Why it is called surgical jaundice?
Because sir, it is amenable to surgical treatment.
Yes, jaundice that released by surgical intervention. So this is the also called surgical jaundice. So what are the important causes of obstructive jaundice? What are the important causes of obstructive jaundice?
So the cause can be sir, in luminal cause such as stone in the common bile duct or worms in the common bile duct. It can be intramural cause such as benign strictures or
Yes.
malignant strictures or sclerosing cholangitis.
Yes.
It also can be extramural causes like periampullary carcinoma, chronic pancreatitis, obstruction by enlarged lymph node in the porta hepatis.
Porta hepatis, very good, very good. So very good, well done for your nice answer. But if you put it in a like that, it may be benign jaundice or malignant jaundice. So what are benign causes of obstructive jaundice?
CBD stone or postoperative strictures or inflammatory strictures.
Yes. So most important cause is the common bile duct stone. So most important benign cause is the stone in the common bile duct. Next is the worm in our country, in the tropical country, worm in the common bile duct. Like what is the important worm that cause CBD obstruction?
Ascaris lumbricoides.
Ascaris, most commonly Ascaris lumbricoides. Other than
Clonorchis sinensis.
yes, Clonorchis sinensis. So most common is the Ascaris lumbricoides. Next is the Clonorchis sinensis. That may also lead to cholangio carcinoma. So what else? CBD stone, worm, then benign
Benign
stricture.
stricture.
And the most important one is the young female patient with the choledochal cyst. Choledochal cyst. It is the cystic lesion in the common bile duct, usually in the common bile duct. So there are 6 types of choledochal cysts, intrahepatic or extrahepatic. The most common is the secular or fusiform dilatation of the common bile duct. There is the choledochal cyst. So it is the another cause of obstructive jaundice due to choledochal cyst. So these are benign cause. What are malignancy?
Periampullary carcinoma.
Yes. So what do you mean by periampullary carcinoma?
So, carcinoma of the head of the pancreas, then ampullary carcinoma, carcinoma of the lower common bile duct, and duodenal carcinoma.
So what is the definition of periampullary carcinoma? What is the definition of periampullary carcinoma?
Carcinoma that arise 1 centimeter around the ampulla of Vetter.
So it is the carcinoma around 1 to 2 centimeters. It is the carcinoma around 1 to 2 centimeters of the ampulla of Vetter. So these includes distal cholangiocarcinoma, carcinoma of the ampulla of Vetter, carcinoma of the duodenum, duodenum, and carcinoma of the pancreas. These are the important malignant cause of malignancy, cause of jaundice due to malignancy. So what are the clinical presentation of jaundice? What is the presentation of obstructive jaundice? How patient present to you?
With deep jaundice, dark urine, pale stool, then steatorrhea, bleeding
Yes.
manifestations, then
Yes.
itching.
So how can you differentiate benign from malignant jaundice? How can you clinically differentiate benign from malignant clinically from history?
So features
The-
of malignancy such as old age, weight loss, and
anemia.
Okay, these are the feature malignancy, but the most important cause that patient gives in his history in case of benign jaundice, stone disease.
Fluctuating jaundice or intermittent jaundice, but in case of malignancy, it will be progressive jaundice.
Okay, these are the pattern only, but what might be the important clinical presentation of patient from his history? It is the painful jaundice. Benign jaundice is usually painful jaundice. There is colicky pain. Malignancy usually painless unless it very advanced stage. There will be lacking pain. But in case of benign jaundice, due to stone disease, there is a colicky pain. That is called painful jaundice. And malignant jaundice, painless jaundice. And important is the feature of cholangitis. Feature of cholangitis in case of the benign jaundice. The most marked, the most significant is the pain followed by cholangitis. Pain followed by jaundice. Pain before jaundice. Clear? Am I clear to you?
Yes, sir.
So this is the painful jaundice. There is a colicky pain followed by jaundice. But in case of malignancy, there is a feature of malignancy like anemia, inertia, weight loss, feature of metastasis like cough, chest pain, hemoptysis, bony pain, feature of ischemia, weight loss in case of malignancy. So what is the important laboratory test for detection of obstructive jaundice after clinical diagnosis? What are the important laboratory tests?
Serum bilirubin, and
Yes.
liver enzymes, prothrombin time, and ultrasonography of the hepatobiliary system.
Most common biochemical investigation is serum bilirubin, followed by serum alkaline phosphatase. The most important, the most significant liver enzyme is the alkaline phosphatase. There is significantly raised in obstructive jaundice. Why? Why serum alkaline phosphatase rise?
So because our serum alkaline phosphatase is stored in the lining epithelium of biliary canaliculi.
Yes. So it is there is increased secretion of the alkaline phosphate of the bile duct epithelium. If there is a obstruction, so there is a increased alkaline phosphatase. So next, what is the next important parameter after the alkaline phosphatase? Next important investigation
Prothrombin time.
is the prothrombin time. So what are the result of prothrombin time?
So it will be increased.
Prothrombin will prolong. Why? Prothrombin prolong.
So deficiency of vitamin K dependent protein factors.
Clotting factor. Patient develop deficiency of vitamin K dependent clotting factor. Why? And there is a deficiency of clotting factor in obstructive jaundice. How it develops? Clotting factor deficiency.
So since vitamin K is a fat soluble vitamin, and since
Yeah.
there is fat malabsorption, as a result, there is vitamin K deficiency, and vitamin K deficiency ultimately leads to the deficiency of K dependent protein
Clotting
factors.
factor. Okay. If there is a biliary obstruction, there is no absorption of bile cells. So bile cell absorption is hampered. So there is a fascicular vitamin does not absorb. So there is a deficiency of fascicular vitamin, usually vitamin K. So K-dependent protein factor, liver can synthesize K-dependent protein factor. Like factor, what are the K-dependent protein factor? Factor 2, 7, 9, 10. Is it correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So there is a prolonged prothrombin time and patient develops coagulopathy. So next important cause is after biochemical confirmation, so we do serum bilirubin, alkaline phosphatase and prothrombin time. And then we go for radiology investigation. So what is the important radiology investigation for obstructive jaundice?
So ultrasonography of the hepatobiliary system.
MRCP, sir.
Usually what is the most important investigation? They will go for the most important is in the it is the ultrasound whole abdomen. It is the ultrasound whole abdomen, special attention to the hepatocyte pain case. So ultrasound of the whole abdomen. So most important is the ultrasound whole abdomen. So what is important findings on ultrasound? What is the ultrasound findings in case of CVD stone?
Shrinkage of the gallbladder, then thickening of the wall of the gallbladder, and ecogenic structure in the gallbladder.
The most important findings is, but what is the most important findings in case of the common bile stone?
Dilatation of the bile.
Very good.
Dilatation of
Very
the
good.
biliary tree.
Yes, yes. The most important is the dilated common bile duct. So what is the normal diameter of common bile duct?
8 millimeters, less than 1 centimeter.
Less than 1. It is up to 7. Up to 7 millimeter. Yeah. Easily up to 7 millimeter. But on ultrasonogram, if diameter is more than 8, it is the dilated CBD. On ultrasonogram, if diameter is more than 8 millimeter, it is the dilated CBD. So, for ultrasonogram, if diameter is more than 8 millimeter, it is the dilated CBD. So, normal diameter is up to 8. So, CBD dilated in case of both benign and malignant jaundice. So, what are the additional findings in case of malignant jaundice on ultrasonogram?
Heterogeneous mass in the wall of the CVD or in the head of the ring.
There will be soft tissue lesion in the common bile duct or in the head of the pancreas. So, there is soft tissue mass in the common bile duct, head of the pancreas. And in addition to this, what are the additional findings on ultrasonogram in case of malignancy?
স্যার এসআইটিস থাকতে পারে, স্যার লিম্ফেডিনোপ্যাথি থাকতে পারে, সেকেন্ডারি ডিপোজিট থাকতে পারে।
Very good, very good. So there may be ascites, peritoneal seedling, secondary liver secondaries. There may be enlarged lymph node in and around the common bile duct, great vessel. So ascites, liver secondary, enlarged lymph node. The most important is okay, these are ultrasound is not significant for malignancy. So what is the most significant investigation for malignant jaundice?
CT scan of the abdomen.
Yes. CT scan of the abdomen with contrast CT and or MRCP. CT abdomen with contrast and or MRCP is the most sensitive for hepatobiliary pancreatic malignancy. It is the most excellent investigation for soft tissue of the common bile duct. MRCP and or CT scan of the abdomen with contrast for malignancy, that it gives you the information regarding surgery, for planning of surgery, for operative assessment of surgery. So So seriously the abdomen. So now, what are the comorbid conditions that may develop in patient with obstetric jaundice? What are the comorbid conditions that may develop in patient with obstetric jaundice? And how can we manage this?
রেনাল ফেলিওর ডেভেলপ করতে পারে স্যার।
Okay, patient may develop renal failure.
liver failure develop.
Liver failure. Okay, second is liver failure.
সেপ্টিসিমিয়া ডেভেলপ করতে পারে স্যার।
Yes, very good. Septicemia. The most important is the cholangitis. Most important is the cholangitis. Followed by septicemia. So cholangitis, septicemia, liver failure, renal failure, and important one is the
ব্লিডিং টেন্ডেন্সি
there is coagulopathy, increased bleeding tendency. So what measures should have to take to prevent this complication?
So, adequate hydration, then
Yes.
increased glucose intake,
Adequate hydration, increased glucose intake, then
vitamin K injection,
vitamin K, injection of vitamin K,
Profile.
intravenous IV daily for at least 3 to 5 days.
স্যার ব্রড
And-
স্পেকট্রাম প্যারেন্টাল অ্যান্টিবায়োটিক
Broad spectrum IV antibiotic for cholangitis to prevent development of septicemia. So these are the important. The first of all, adequate hydration, either orally or if patient cannot sufficient intake orally, then you can put IV fluid. And patient may need plenty of glucose supplement, orally or IV glucose supplement. Broad spectrum IV antibiotic to cholangitis, and for bleeding tendency, vitamin K. Intravenous vitamin K for 3 to 5 days, not intramuscular. So there is intravenous vitamin K for 3 to 5 days. Patient may require fresh fetal plasma in some case. So these are the important comorbidities, and it must be handled before surgery. So now come to the surgical aspect of jaundice. So what are the important? What are treatment options for common bile duct stone?
cholecystectomy with cholecystectomy followed by the T-tube insertion.
This is one of the method. Next, what are other method?
ERCP,
ERCP.
followed by stone retrieval with dormiovascular.
Okay, is the minimally invasive approach ERCP in stone removal. What else? What others?
Cholecystectomy with choledocholectomy and Ruben Y choledochojejunostomy.
Yes. So there are several options: minimally invasive approach, open approach, and advanced surgical technique. Minimally invasive approach is ERCP and sphincterotomy and stone removal. Conventional technique: choledochotomy, choledocholectomy, and T-tube placement. Sometimes you may close that bile duct, primary closure of the bile duct. And in some cases, if there is a dilated common bile duct more than 2 centimeter, if dilated more than 2 centimeter, if there is a multiple stone, if there is a recurrent stone, in that case you can go for a Roy choledochojejunostomy. So these are the open technique. And advanced technique is the laparoscopic removal, laparoscopic stone removal. So these are the treatment options for common bile duct stone. So now what are the treatment for malignancy?
স্যার পেরিএম্পুলারি কার্সিনোমা হলে স্যার উইপোজ প্রসিডিউর করতে পারি।
So in case of malignancy, after confirmed diagnosis, adequate staging, if it is operable, we can go for exploratory laparotomy and assessment of the growth during surgery. And if growth is resectable, in that case, we can go for Whipple's procedure or modified Whipple's operation. In case of, if you find that there is a growth is not resectable, in that case, you can go for palliative bypass. So these are the surgical options. So So what are the criteria of inoperability during surgery?
স্যার এসআইটিস পাওয়া যদি যায়
Yes,
সেকেন্ডারি
SIT,
ডিপোজিট ডিপোজিট যদি ডিটেক্ট করা যায়
liver, okay,
পাওয়া যায়
then
তারপর স্যার যদি সারাউন্ডিং স্ট্রাকচারকে ইনভলভ করে সেটা যদি স্যার মানে রিজিড হয় সেটা সার্জিক্যালি রিমুভেবল হয় না
yes, then so SIT is multiple liver secondary fixed to go to surrounding structure, and number 4, the more important is the vascular invasion, like invasion of the common hepatic artery, celiac trunk, suprameningeal artery, and even in some case portal vein. So in that case you cannot go for curative surgery. In that case you can go for palliative bypass. Clear?
স্যার একটা কোয়েশ্চন ছিল স্যার
Yes.
স্যার উইপোজ প্রসিডিউরে স্যার পাইলোরাস প্রিজার্ভিংটা কেন বলা হয় স্যার
Whipple's say it is not pilot preserving. Pilot preserving is the modified Whipple's to improve the functional outcome. So, in case of pilot preserving, operation is the called modified Whipple's. It's not Whipple's. In Whipple's operation, we remove the distal part of the stomach. What was done? What we removed in Whipple's? In Whipple's operation, we remove the distal part of the stomach, including the duodenum and proximal 10 to 15 centimeter jejunum, along with head and neck of the pancreas and common bile duct with gallbladder. But in case of modified Whipple's, you can preserve the pylorus with as well as first part of the duodenum to improve the functional outcome, to prevent the distal stomach. So this is the modified Whipple's, not Whipple's. Clear?
জি স্যার থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার
So in Whipple's operation, we remove the distal stomach with duodenum and proximal 10 to 15 centimeter jejunum, and remove the head and neck of unseen part of the pancreas and distal part of the common bile duct. And reconstruction is done in the following way. You can go for first you can go for pancreatic jejunostomy, then choledochojejunostomy, and finally gastrojejunostomy. Clear? Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
So pancreatic jejunostomy first, then choledochojejunostomy, and finally gastrojejunostomy. This is the Whipple's operation. In case of modified Whipple's, we can go for a duodenojejunostomy, not gastrojejunostomy. Distal stomach and pylorus is preserved in modified Whipple's. In case of triple bypass, if growth is not resective, in this case, you can go for triple bypass, like triple bypass, like biliary bypass, gastric bypass, and biliary bypass in the form of choledochojejunostomy, gastrojejunostomy, and finally jejunojejunostomy. This is a triple bypass. Biliary bypass, gastric bypass. Biliary bypass in the form of choledochojejunostomy, gastric bypass, gastrojejunostomy, and finally jejunojejunostomy. This is the triple bypass for inoperable growth. And in case of advanced malignancy, if you find their growth is advanced before surgery, there are some palliative treatment like palliative stenting. You can go for ERCP and stenting of the common bile duct to remove the symptom, to palliate the symptom, like to relieve the jaundice. If there is stenting, there is established bile flow, patient may feel comfort. So this is the palliative treatment option, like palliative ERCP and stenting, and some form of chemotherapy nowadays, even. Though carcinoma is not chemosensitive, but even nowadays, some chemotherapy is still in the hope for patient. These are the palliative treatment. Clear? Hello?
স্যার একটা কোশ্চেন ছিল স্যার টি টিউব কতদিন রাখবো আমরা স্যার
এই যে বললাম usually 7 to 10 postoperative days. If you seen there after surgery, if you to put T-tube and we go for T2 cholangiogram on 7 to 10 posterior day. If there is no residual stone, and then we remove stone T2 within 10 days for surgery. Clear?
Yes, sir.
So any question regarding obstetric jaundice?
স্যার
বলো।
নিউমোথোরাক্সের অ্যান্সার স্ক্রিপ্টটা একটু দেখাই দিলে ভালো হতো। নিউমোথোরাক্স।
Pneumothorax answer script.
স্যার
হ্যাঁ, দেখাচ্ছি।
আমাদেরকে দেয়া যাবে?
হ্যাঁ,
এই স্লাইডটা কি আমাদেরকে দেয়া যাবে?
আচ্ছা শোনো, তুমি এই দেখো অ্যান্সার অফ দ্য নিউমোথোরাক্স দেখতেছো?
জি স্যার দেখা যাচ্ছে।
ওকে নেক্সট। এগুলো তোমাকে আমি দিব না, অসুবিধা নাই, আমি শেয়ার করে দিব না তোমাকে। বই আর সুন্দর ভালো করে পড়া আছে, বইয়ে ভালো করে দেওয়া আছে, বুঝছো না, অসুবিধা নাই এগুলা।
ওকে স্যার, থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার।
স্যার
হ্যাঁ বলো।
এই স্লাইডটা কি আমাদের গ্রুপে দেয়া যাবে?
আচ্ছা আমি দেখি গ্রুপে অ্যাডমিনের সাথে কথা বলে, ওনা যদি বলে তাহলে দিব, সমস্যা নেই। এটা এমন কিছু না, দেওয়া যাবে, সমস্যা নেই। হ্যাঁ, any question? So I think this is all about today's class. The tomorrow is a very important class. Also the OSPE station we are going to discuss regarding X-ray, abdominal X-ray like intestinal obstruction, kidney stone, hydronephrosis, barium enema, so tomorrow is the this is today also important, but tomorrow is the first chapter. So I think we will go through book and tomorrow discussion including the intestinal obstruction, renal stone, hydronephrosis, and colonic malignancy. So this is all about today's class. So hope for the best and see you inshallah tomorrow. Okay, Allah Hafiz.
আসসালামু আলাইকুম স্যার।